नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं Hari Om. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? Yes, please. You have to form the link so we can move ahead. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, any point, anything you can recollect. Yes, Renuji. Yes, please.
Yes, Priya. We started off last time with sacrifice, with the idea of sacrifice, yagna,
Yes, ji.
and we related that rain produce with the help of rain, the food is produced, and the food is nourishes the beings, the living beings, and rain comes from the sacrifice.
Fire and karma, isn't it?
Yes, and now we are dealt with karma, that without action, without doing any karma, we cannot live.
Move ahead.
We
Yes.
cannot move ahead. And karma has to be done with total detachment. One who is desireless, he moves round and round. He doesn't feel
But
contented.
but my question is, aspiration is required? Is aspiration required?
Aspiration is moving ahead.
Yeah.
Desire is something which is related to me, myself. I am centered
Okay.
with. I
So
just
desire comes in the way of genuine aspiration also, isn't it? Attachments and desires, they prevent us from aspiring what is right and we get carried away, isn't it, Ji? All
we
right, please
get
continue. Yes, Ji.
yes. And then Lord Krishna also gives example that since he is not bound with any karma and he has come to this earth, he has to perform his duty so that people can emulate him. If he is actionless, then a wrong example will be set. He gives an
Ji.
example of Janaka also,
Ha.
and we ended with the shloka which said about buddhi bhed.
Yes.
Those brothers and sisters or people who do their duty or they do their karma with attachment,
Hmm.
should not preach them or give them advice. Let them do what they are doing. We have to do our own part, and if they see and if they look upon us doing and getting detached from whatever we are doing in life, and we are aspiring towards a higher goal, then they can just change their path very gently. What
Okay.
I
All
but
right.
if we try to correct them or advise them, they can become actionless also, and
Okay.
that will become against the law of karma.
Yes, yes. All right. Beautifully said, Renuji. So yes, that's a very big principle actually. Na buddhi bheda. It is on the simple fundamental principle that unless somebody wants to learn, you cannot teach him, isn't it? And sometimes there are ways of teaching without even speaking also, non-verbally. And the best way of teaching is karma only, by action. Gita keeps talking about yat yat acharati shrestha. Those who are walking on the right path, they become the example. And when they go ahead on the path, people follow that, people emulate. And this is nature. I think as a child also we would have always had one brother or sister whom would want to be like, isn't it? Hey, this bhaiya is like this didi is like this. I want to be like this. Isn't it? It's normal because that is our tendency. And Krishna gives example of Janaka Raja, not someone who has left the world, but who has embraced the world and yet has become free. Free from what we call the traps of expectations, because expectations are never fulfilled. The expectations keep coming. And many times, if your action is driven only by expectation, it is likely to be a very unsteady action. So let us continue. If nobody has any queries, we will continue. We go on. So Krishna said 26 shloka. You can get the work together because there are two types of mindset. Just as one person is driven by attachment, the person does his work because he's getting something in return or she is getting something in return, driven by desires. That is the nature of person who is driven by selfish desires. But then there should be a motivation for somebody who is working selflessly also, because where will that fire burn then? Because many, I don't expect anything. And many times, like Renuji said, sometimes people, they get tired, they become sick of what has happened. People behave this way. Enough. I have got bored. No more. I'm not going to try. There's no hope. And they sit down simply. I don't have expectations, but I don't have any action also. Nothing can be done. Nothing can be changed. That is a kind of what we will learn later on in Gita. It is a tamasic withdrawal. How does one inspire oneself? How does one motivate oneself? Well, Krishna says it is the same loka sangraha, betterment of the world. There is no limit to this, and this is that if we are able to, tap to this loka sangraha, why am I doing this action? If it is for loka sangraha, you are never going to run out of a kind of force of inspiration to do it. And there is no limit to bettering the world. An artist, now when there was an ashram's exhibition on Bhagwad Gita, so there one of the organizers I had a good chance to see from close. She had a beautiful painting and it was supposed to be displayed. It was supposed to be displayed for the exhibition. Everybody had their deadline. She also fulfilled according to the deadline. She was only hanging all the pictures. But up to 1 hour before the exhibition began, she still wanted to make her painting perfect. She was taking a brush and trying to add one more color. For a layman, it may look like it's complete. What is she doing, or what is she trying to show somebody? But no, there was nobody around her. She was alone. She was alone in a dimly lit room. The lights had not yet come on, and yet she was trying to make it perfect. Anybody, can you tell me what could be the motivation? What was she trying to do? Was she trying to show somebody I'm very unique? Why did she have to add a little bit of a shade which was otherwise hardly visible to anybody? No, it was just the same, isn't it? Yes, Renuji. Yes, please.
It is for herself, her inner self. That is her
Ah,
self.
so she felt it has to be perfect. It is my offering. And there is no limit for perfection. We can keep trying, aspiring to get better and better, whichever kshetra we are in. So, yes, with this, we can continue. So, remember, Buddhi Bheda is not required. Psychologists also tell don't do Buddhi Bheda in anybody. If you break a person's Shraddha, what's going to happen? You'll have one of two reactions. One, what is going to happen? One, it will be if the person is psychotic, he will attack you only. And if the person is neurotic, that person will suffer a breakdown. Why? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to break somebody's line of thinking or philosophy? Unless somebody asks us for direction. Even if the person asks for direction, we have to handle with care. But many times I have the sacred duty of what? My duty is my karma and lokasangra. My duty is not to go on breaking other person's heads with my philosophy. Let them understand, let them realize, let them grow. That is the responsibility of the cosmic consciousness. Mine is to focus on me right now so that I become a part of what we call this cosmic consciousness. Let us continue. Krishna goes on, 27th shloka. Prakritehe kriyamanaani gunaihi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. All types of actions originated from nature, nature's qualities, and their interactions. The ignorant one, who is by ego deluded, thinks his outer self performs all actions. So Krishna says all these actions, the karma bandhana, this is all part of Prakriti and the Gunas. We will again see what Prakriti is a little bit later in the Gita. What are Gunas? Well, Gunas is, if you want to understand, Prakriti is an entire system. Guna is what we call the operating system. Prakriti functions in this world through gunas. And through the action of Prakriti and Gunas, there are these karmas and the karma bandhanas taking place. But the ignorant one, what does he think? The ignorant one is by his ego deluded, and he thinks his outer self is performing all actions. That I only am doing everything. The ahankar makes a person feel that I am everything. I am the alpha. I am the omega. I am the greatest one. But it's not like that. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणगुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. O mighty armed one, those who know the foundation of how nature's qualities through works function know that the senses attached to sense objects and are unperturbed and detached in all aspects. Somebody who has understood the tattva, the foundation, he understands that yes, these are my Indrias. The Indrias are going to get attracted or attached to the objects of the Indriyas. What I see, I might get excited, but the truth is, can I see everything? Everything is that is there. No, isn't it? I have my own limitations, limitation of direction. Maybe I am sitting right now in front of you, looking. Maybe I might have, say, 180-degree kind of view, maybe for to up to a certain extent, I may be able to see what's happening up to on my left, on my right, and the front. All right. But suddenly there's another kshetra outside of where I am right now. There is also something happening. I cannot understand everything. But many times we take pride. What I see is everything. What I hear is everything. What I speak is everything. All our indriyas, what I feel, that is only everything. This attachment comes from the ahankar, and because of which they don't understand. And we get lost in all of this. But somebody who is realized, who has understood, they say, yes, I have my limitations because of these indriyas. Truthfully, we do not see what is infrared and ultraviolet, isn't it? But does that mean it does not exist? It exists, but it's not to our knowledge. But there is, it is. So then a humility is required of what is beyond. But somebody who is attached says, no, what I experience only exists. What I don't experience does not. This is the bhava. This is the bhava which comes out of an attachment. Prakrutir guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tan kritsnavido mandan kritsnavinna vichalayet. These qualities of nature bewilder the ignorant who wish not to forego attachment at any instant. He who knows should from disturbing them abstain, and from altering their mental state he should refrain. So again, Krishna says this. He says, this nature is going to bewilder if somebody tries to think, who tries to go deeper into Prakriti. If you say, no, no, what you are feeling is because of your attachment to your Indriyas. If you tell this to somebody who likes something a lot, what will be the reaction? Anybody. And I request participants who can turn on video feeds, please do turn on the video feeds. Yes, so this question of mine, anybody, could you answer that? What will happen when you go and tell, no, 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 what you are feeling is just your Indriyas functioning, nothing more than that. What kind of... Yes, Ramesh is saying something? Yes, sir. Is it? Anybody?
Yes, the person will say yes, acknowledge,
Yes.
yes, it is, it is.
No, if that person agrees, isn't it? If he just agrees to that, otherwise he say, no, you are just trying to. This is much more than that. These attachments are everything. Somebody who is trapped in attachment will say, this is much more than what you are thinking.
Then
Do
there will
not.
be a
Yes, ji?
then there will be a revolt.
There'll be a revolt. I do not like this. Enough of this. This is something much more. Do not call it.
Yes,
Absolutely. So, what should we do? Krishna says, don't try to alter the mental state of a person. Do not alter the mental state, he says. Because those who are attached will remain attached. Up to it's like you are going to take away their life jacket. For them, they feel attachment is what is keeping them going. Until the ignorance leaves, a person will not leave attachment. And that is something which Krishna says it's not our job to do that surgery and remove that attachment. Whose job is it if it is not ours?
That person's job itself.
Yes, Dr. Swarupa, yes, but that is that person's job. But what if that person does not realize it?
We have to wait patiently.
We have to wait patiently, isn't it? Because that adhikar is with the deva, that adhikar is with the guru to remove ignorance. It is not unless you sit in the guru's sthana you should enter or intervene. Otherwise, pray, aspire that person realizes, right? That also has a value. But you go on with your karma. Do not let your karmas get wasted because a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to alter somebody's state with a. Yes, sir, Chandresh ji, yes, sir.
Nature, of course, takes care of it. Life will always push you towards a progress because nature does also, Prakriti
Hmm.
also does the yoga.
Ha, sir. Wonderfully said. Yes, sir. Chandresh ji says nature. Prakriti does it. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram has said, you do it or you'll be forced to do it. Means the person will have to come into a situation where he'll have to now choose between truth and the ignorance and the attachment. And that choice will have to be taken by the individual, and Prakriti will create the ground. So, our side, we can have well wishes, yes, but our job should not be to alter a state of somebody's mind. It is not. Yes, Renuji.
I just wanted to share something.
Okay,
My
ji. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
After listening to this part of Gita,
Hmm.
I feel right now I have a feeling that being a well wisher for my family members or my friends, that is my inner urge when I see them just deviating. They
Okay.
they do they do not feel that they are being deviated. They are deviated. But from my perception, I feel that they are getting deviated, and I try to just bring them back, try to teach them, try to console them, try to give them all these advices, and that doesn't make.
It doesn't work. It makes us irritated or frustrated, isn't it?
Yes, and
Ah,
now I have a feeling that I have wasted lots and lots of time over them, upon them.
so I think we'll not consider it as a waste of time. We can call it one experience which was required. Just as they also may not be completely astray, Prakriti might be pushing them in a particular direction to bring them back later on. So everybody's life journey is going on. We can focus on our sadhana probably and moving ahead. Yes, see.
Yes.
But wonderful observation, Ji. Thank you. So let us continue. Krishna goes on. He says, 38th shloka, Mai sarvani karmani सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युद्धस्व विगतज्वरा. Consecrating your actions to me, the Supreme I. Meditate upon yourself, that is a part of me, without holding on to desires or prestige, without grief or remorse. Ready your weapons to lay siege. Krishna says, there is a part of you which is also a part of me, and this me that Krishna refers to is the divine. Krishna is referring to the divine. The Sarathi is not just the Sarathi, he is also something connected with that supreme divinity. A second time, we see Krishna indicating that he is more than the friend that Arjuna knew, more than the elder that Arjuna knew. Krishna is saying that and he's telling, focus on that, what we call the Paramatman, that is inside of me. It is me. It is also a part of you. Without holding on to your desires, without holding on to prestige, your outer emotions, what will people think, what my standing in the society, all of that. Forget it. Forget your sorrow. Forget your remorse. It's all right. Do not have to. This remorse also is a problem. I did wrong. This feeling of I did wrong also is a like unnecessary baggage. It's all right. You've done something wrong. The day you realize it's wrong, that is itself a punishment enough for the wrong that you have done. The inner realization of it. So now it's time to move forward. But people hold on to it, and what they call in psychology, moral injury. They carry that guilt with them. So Krishna says, leave that, focus on the divine, and ready your weapons to do your action. You're a warrior, pick up your weapons. You're an artist, pick up your brush, that is your weapon. If you are a writer, pick up your pen. Whatever work you are doing, get up again. Krishna is telling Arjuna. Ready. Yes, Renuji, you want to add something?
No, Bhaiya, I was just stuck to the
Hmm.
previous part because I had a situation. A mother was facing, a child was playing video games.
Hmm.
Okay, that is also a part of a karma. Now, when she tells her child that it's not good, he wants to make career in playing video games.
Okay.
Now there is a utter chaos in the family.
Hmm.
The mother cannot just be watchful and just an observer for the child, that okay, let him play, he'll learn after he'll pass class 12 or he's going to fail in class 12. She
Hmm.
cannot wait patiently. She goes and tells him in different ways.
Okay.
Can you
Yes.
frame a question for me, because this is the
No, here you see there's a daitva, isn't it? The mother has a duty. She has to dispassionately do the duty. But can we just, since it is, okay, since it has come in this session, we'll look at it, but otherwise we'll continue with the Gita after this question. So if you see, actually, there's my classmate, was topper. She is a state topper. She had never ever played any game in life, any computer game. The friends, all of them would do, like she would not even know the name of the game. After becoming a topper, she became an engineer in a good, prestigious college. After that, she worked in the top company in India. You know what her career is right now? She is in the US. She is designing games, computer games. The topper was never, there was never a career. So what we have to understand is the sense of the parent has to make the child understand the sense of duty of the child. And if he's doing his works, if he's doing everything correctly, if he's not performing his games, he should be taught. Somewhere the parent is letting a little more than what we can say, a little without consequences of. There are people who will play games also. Some of my college friends would play games in college also because they were not interested in what was going on. But when that fellow found interest after mechanical engineering, leaving a good offer of working in a core engineering company, 2 years later he decides to become a lawyer. And today he is one of the top one good lawyer who is in Supreme Court also at a very young age. He's the most sought after lawyer. So the children will find out. Later they will find out in their time. But if the child is not doing his duty, he should be taught what is his duty. And he must understand like karma is there, karma bandhana is there, consequences of actions are there. He should be made aware of the consequences. But beyond that, parents cannot be responsible for children completely. Each child is born with their destiny and their direction. Shrutiji wants to ask something. Yes, Shrutiji? Or share something? No.
No, no, thanks. Sorry.
All right, ji. Hari Om. So, yes, ji. So, let us continue. We'll go back into the Gita now. So, Krishna says, focus upon me, focus upon the divine, focus upon me that is part of you, which is also in the cosmos, and pick up your weapons. Duty cannot be forgotten. Krishna says, Ye me matamidam nityam अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेपि कर्मभिः. Those amongst men who thus regularly perform and to my instructions they dutifully conform with the purest and blemishless devotion from karma's bondage they attain redemption. So muchante karma bandhana. This karma bandhana is going to be dissolved. That person is going to be free. Who are they? Those who are regularly performing the action. Each person must do your duty, and your duty can be defined not by some SOP, not by some job description, but by yourself. What is your duty? My duty at this moment that must be recognized. And Krishna says, those who follow this, who follow their duty, they have something called Shraddha also while they are doing the duty. And this Shraddha is a very important factor. With Shraddha, of those who perform their duty sincerely and regularly, Krishna says they become Mukta. They become the Jivan Muktas. They become what we call the Janakas in their highest stages when they reach that consciousness. So the concept of Shraddha has been introduced. Shraddha is very difficult to be translated into English. Sri Aurobindo himself said that it's not something which can be just translated. But if we can call it in English, there are different words. Anybody? What is Shraddha? One word. I think
Faith.
everybody can try one word. Yes, Renuji says faith. All right, Renuji has said faith. Anybody else?
Dedication.
Okay, Rameshji has said dedication. So faith, dedication. Yes.
Devotion.
Dr. Swarupaji said devotion. Yes, that is also true. Any other word comes?
Astha, complete astha.
Okay, another Sanskrit word, astha. Okay, all right.
Trust also.
Trust, devotion, dedication, faith. Can we add
Obedience.
love? Yes, Sandhuji?
Obedience.
Okay, obedience also comes into it. It's one of the angle. All right.
Total.
About love.
Total surrender.
Okay,
Total surrender.
surrender, total surrender, and love. All these aspects are all connected to Shraddha, though they will not be perfectly related to Shraddha. But this is one thing. Shraddha is there and has to come, and Shraddha comes from the inside only. Again, it is all means the biggest problem and the biggest solution is that it is inside. The answer is inside. But because it is inside, we do not want to look. But when we do, we realize it. And so Shraddha, it is important to have a Shraddha Sthana, a place to keep our Shraddha, to make it flourish. Like if there's a fountain on the inside, unfortunately, due to life experiences, due to past experiences, or we call sanskaras, what happens to that fountain? The opening of the fountain is blocked by boulders or sometimes small rocks also. They are preventing that. And that has to be removed for Shraddha to flow. And the problem is I cannot ask you to have Shraddha. Renuji talked about a mother asking the child to have faith or Shraddha in the education. But somebody else cannot enforce it, isn't it? It has to be realized by the individual. And the importance of Shraddha is very, very much, like it is the most important in the Gita also you see, or in any of the Sanatan scriptures, or even in life if you see. We all need one place which does not shake, which does not change, isn't it? One Shraddha Sthana. Does anybody have a Shraddha Sthana in their life? And would you like to share that? It's also a very private thing. So that is why I'm asking if you would like to share it. I'll be grateful. But if you do not want to, also is fine. So do you have a Shraddha Sthana? Anybody?
Yes, yes.
What is your Shraddha Sthana ji? Renuji?
My Guruji.
Your Guru. All right. So said, okay, Guru is one brilliant place to have Shraddha in because that is a Guru Paramatma Pareshwar. We're talking about the Paramatma. The Guru is what? Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Charachara Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So in the Guru, it's like that. Dhyanamoolam Guru Murtim Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. So for a Shishya, the Shraddha Sthan can be the Guru. Yes. Any other Shraddha Sthanas we can think of?
My mother.
Mother, okay. They say Namatuk Paradaivatam. The mother. And Shrutiji, so do you derive strength from your Shraddha Sthana?
Definitely.
Do you have to be in close physical proximity with your Shraddha Sthana or it is absolutely internal and you are always in proximity?
Yes.
Isn't
Always
it?
yes. She's always there behind, although
Okay.
not physically present, but she's always there to guide.
Ha. Yes. So this is important. It is important. Krishna says, if you have not yet found, it can be anybody, it can be your a friend that is trustworthy. But again, the Shraddha Sthana has to be selected properly. It could be your Aradhya, it could be your Ishta, it could be your Bhagwan, wherever you feel. But that is one place what is required. And Krishna says, with Shraddha, if you're able to motivate yourself, do your actions, he says you will become free. Your life experience will absolutely be different from that person who is trapped in this cycle of expectations and frustrations. Krishna goes on. Ye tva Hari Om ji. Yes, Chaitanya ji.
Sorry, just one question. Is it possible to have different Shraddhasanas for in different aspects of life? The reason I'm asking is it may happen that if I'm doing my work, for my work, a Shraddhasana will be someone will be very different who is, I mean, more related to my work or profession. Or in my
Yeah.
personal life, it may be someone very different who is actually doing great job handling different things in personal life. So is it
Yeah.
possible to have different Shraddhasanas?
That's a very nice question. If you see, each kshetra is somebody else is there, isn't it? You have a coach for one field.
Correct.
And it is always good to learn from many people. Yes. But do you know in life, one time comes where all the different kshetras which we perceive are different start merging. They become one. When I was in engineering, mechanical engineers and electronic engineers, we had fight. Who is the real don or who is the real boss in college? The mechanical engineers would say, we are the royal mech, and so they would try to fight and assert their dominance. Another would, electronics would say, we are the core. And then there was a fight. Now, this is what we say, the Dvaita is there, no division. I am different, I am different. Because of that, fight is taking place. And finally, one senior came and because he saw a fight, it was actually a physical fight. Groups had come to have a fight, and this senior who was doing an MTech, he said, you both are fools. There's a subject which is going to come called mechatronics. That's going to have both of you, mechanical and engineering together. Actually, everybody started scratching their head. What is he talking about? But the fight aspect or the bheda and everything disappeared after that. So as of now, you may have a expert in this field, expert in that field. What we can call consultants also can be found. Guides can be found. But as Krishna says, Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Later on in the Gita, we will see. There's one Kshetrajna for all Kshetras. And so later on, sometime at one point, you will have to find one person or one place where your Shraddha will permeate and connect all of these. It is not about disrespecting anybody. You must respect and you can learn. Like you said, wanting to learn from multiple people, the best of each Kshetras. Yes, it is good, it is nice, it is not, we can say, advisable. But imagine if these Kshetras clash. One person says like this, another person says like that. So what will you say? This person knows only about that field. Here again, what has happened? Your Ashraddha has started to begin, no? Or it is creating clashes.
Happens. Sometimes it
Ah,
happens.
yeah, because array, this person is so great, but look what he has said. So maybe his greatness is not there. And then our Shraddha in the greatness in his Kshetra also we start questioning. No, he was like this. And many times people, especially the younger generation, over a drink, they decide to choose their guru who is having a greater following. No, they say, it's time we should find. They have over a drink. That's not something that can be done. It's not profitable or loss, or this is not something outer aspects that we see. But it is important. It is important to have, and one which will not shake, one which will not change at all, Chaitanya ji.
Okay. Thank you, Shishri.
Thank you, ji. Hari Om. Hari Om. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. He says, the 32nd shloka. ये त्व एतद् अभ्यासूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञान विमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् चेतसः. Krishna says, those who lack the conviction and regard and my instructions, they bluntly disregard. From all knowledge, they are by ignorance deluded, and from a growth in consciousness, they are excluded. Krishna says, if you do not have Shraddha, if you do not follow, if you bluntly disregard this principle, you are not going to grow in consciousness. The knowledge that is waiting to be got will never be got, is what he says. Such a person cannot grow. One question comes in mind. We've all heard of certain religions which are extremely dogmatic. They say, you believe this, you listen to me, you will be liberated. If you don't listen to me, you are going to suffer. You are going to go to the worst of worst states. Have we not heard of this? A particular religion. We're not taking names, but certain philosophies. You follow this, you listen to me, then you will be successful. If you have not listened to me, then you will suffer because you didn't listen to me. We've heard of this. Is Krishna doing something like that in this statement? Is it a YouTube Brutus moment for us now? Oh no. Krishna also. He's also saying if you don't follow this, you'll suffer. Or if it is not, why is it not like that? Anybody? He says if you do not have Shraddha, you'll not be able to grow. Is this a curse? Is Krishna also cursing now? Like somebody who gets frustrated when people don't listen. Anyone? Yes?
I think here Krishna is talking about the bhav with which you have to do your karmas and not, just to follow something or someone. It's more about what do you say? I can't say that's an attitude,
Okay.
but it's more
Okay.
you do your work, what you're thinking while doing that, what is your feeling behind it, and that is
It's
what
like more
he's
of
trying
cause and
to.
effect, is it? Isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not like I am insulted, so I'll curse you or something. It's not like that. It's like अब पढ़ाई करो तो एग्जाम में मार्क आएंगे. But that does not mean the teacher is cursing a person that you will not get marks in the exam. It's just like that, as simple as that. So he says, yes. If you say, like Krishna has told Nityam Yagne Pratishtitam, we saw yesterday the principle of Yagna. Yagna is there. No pain, no gain. No sacrifice, you cannot progress. And your desires are limited. You follow your desires only, you are wasting your life. Somebody says, no, I don't believe this. I will follow my desires. What will happen? The person will go on the path of desires only and will not be able to experience a growth in consciousness. For an alcoholic who is an addict, what can be the highest aspiration? More alcohol only, isn't it? Nothing more. For them, for such a person, Swarga is where unlimited supply of alcohol is there. But the internal organs, they have their limitations. This is going to damage. All of these questions do not come inside, and the person's mind will not grow. One of the husbands of our staff in the factory, two of the husbands of the staff in our factory. Unfortunately, in Pondicherry, alcohol is very cheap, so we have a lot of, especially in the village areas, so many side effects also. Both of them drank to their deaths. One of them had drunk so much that the doctor had warned, you take one more drop, you will destroy, your internal organs are already badly damaged. And yet this person continued because that is the desire of that person, that is the attachment. Unfortunately, the person could not grow in consciousness beyond that desire at all. Could not think of his wife, could not think of his children, his duty towards them. All is lost in the quest for the desire. And this is the problem. And Krishna says, if you live by that, if you don't have that conviction to rise, you are just disregarding this aspect of sacrifice, principle of sacrifice, not trying to move ahead. Then he says, you will not be able to grow. That is all he is told. He's not saying, I'm sending thunderbolts from the sky because you have not followed it. And I am personally insulted. There is no nothing like that. Krishna never got insulted even in the first adhyaya when Arjuna said, were you greedy? Any one of us in that place would, how dare you speak that? Don't you see? Are you blind? My own army has gone on the other side. I am becoming just a charioteer for you, and you speak this way? No, Krishna is beyond of that. He is not, he's understanding that that is the attachment. Person is functioning according to the attachment. That is not creating any bhed in his mind. He is not trying to create unnecessarily in Arjuna's head also. Until Arjuna passed that secret word. He said, Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Help me. I am willing to be your Shishya. Guide me. That's where he thought. So let us continue. Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakritir jnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Again, this is a very interesting thing. The Gita goes on samatva, talks about balance, and it walks the thin line. It is neither here nor there. It is just satya only. So here again, Krishna talks about desires. How many of us have desires? If you see, only three screens are there, so I'll raise my hand first. Yes, we have desires because we are human. Desires, yes, Karthik ji also. Absolutely. So desires are part of our experience. But getting carried away is not a necessary experience in life. Krishna says here in the 33rd shloka, he says, even the knowledgeable person always in life acts as per one's own nature when he interacts. When all living creatures by their natures are bound in its suppression, what truth can be found? So Prakriti is having the Gunas, and each person has a different Swabhava due to the combination of the Gunas. So each person is going to walk in a different path also. And Krishna says, even the wise person, how does the wise person act? As per his own nature when he interacts. When interacting in the world, each person has a stamp of their own nature, isn't it? Some people are calm and peaceful. No matter what happens, they are calm and peaceful. And it's not something they've done sadhana or transformed their nature. They're born with that. Durvasa Rishi, was he calm and peaceful? Anybody? Oh,
Most,
Durvasa Rishi has come, so
No.
peaceful. No,
most,
isn't it?
most angry
People
person.
become worried. Oh my God, he's going to curse something now, and another new story would begin. Well, that was his nature, but he was not. He was not driven. He was not cranky old person, isn't it? He was a realized one who was working according to his nature. Sri Aurobindo was in a particular way. Even the mother was different. She once said, Sri Aurobindo may be a gentleman. I am not. Everybody has their Swabhava. We can say we are going to have a stamp of Swabhava. We will have to use that for our sadhana. We will not have to break our nature. Krishna says here, what truth is there in its suppression? What truth can be found? When all living beings are by Prakriti bound, so they will have the consequence of this bandhana with Prakriti in their Swabhava. But let's not suppress it. Then if not suppress, how do we overcome? Let us look at the next shloka. Krishna says, इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेतौ यस्य परिपन्थिनौ. Likes and dislikes arise out of the senses, and their emergence one cannot avoid. But one must not fall prey to their pretenses, else progress on the spirit's path is destroyed. So Krishna says, see, likes and dislikes, we all will have our likes, we all will have our dislikes. You cannot prevent the emergence of it. And it's sometimes very, very strange. Somebody will find, yuck, what a ugly insect that is there. But somebody will, wow, what a beautiful caterpillar, let me carry it. The child will go and keep that caterpillar inside of a box, put some leaves and watch that transformation. And this is one person's personal approach, isn't it, to things. So everybody is going to have a different like and a different dislike. And you cannot prevent that origin, the ugam, because likes and dislikes will come in. Somebody may get disgusted by the very thought of Karela. And somebody will say, Wah, Karela ki sabji, there's nothing better in the world than that. Why? Well, each person has their own. But Krishna says, but one must not fall prey to their pretenses, else progress on the spirit's path is destroyed. But if you get carried away by your likes and dislikes, and you forget the truth, forget your duties, you forget what is in front of you just because of your likes and dislikes, the chance of progressing is going to be lost, because spirituality is about progressing even beyond what is the dvandva of the like and dislike also. And small experience I can share about is my sister. She did not like curd. I think that's fine. People have choices. But her disliking was so strong, it was borderlining hate also for curd. Now that was to my advantage only because I like curd, and I did take the extra advantage of I would purposely keep my vessel of curd next to her plate just to watch the various facial expressions change. She would say, move it away, but I would still continue. This is all fine in childhood, we can say. But after I had started living with my teacher, one day she came to meet me and also my teacher, and the teacher gave her panchamrut in her hand. Now, panchamrut has one ingredient which is curd. She was aware of that, and now she had to eat that. But how do I eat it? Because she has that dvesha for curd, isn't it? And that is in the panchamrut. Now, should she allow her dvesha to take control and reject that panchamrut? Or she should take that as an ashirvad and receive the sanctity of the panchamrit after the puja which is got. That is a big question we have in like sometimes our likes and dislikes come in between. One day she had come and Namiji probably knew it also. That's why he just come here, open your mouth, and he put freshly churned butter into her mouth. And then she made a very weird expression on her face in front of Damliji only, and she felt bad about it. No, This is not right. I cannot have this kind of wild face when something is being given to me with love. I need to overcome it. And then she started trying to overcome her own dislike by taking every day during lunch. She would have first a small quarter spoon. Quarter spoon became half spoon. Half spoon became 1 spoon of curd. Now she can take even a vessel of curd, which is not to my advantage now, which I have to share with her. But she has transcended. She has transcended her own liking and disliking for a higher purpose. That is what we have to realize in our life also. Likes and dislikes, it's all right, but getting carried away. And dislike should be there, but hate should not be there. And after a particular point, you can think of even letting go of your dislike. It's all right. I don't like it. I don't prefer it. I may not walk on the path. But if I do have to for a higher purpose, I should not let this come in between. And that is what Krishna is talking about. Krishna goes on further. He says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Means this is beautiful. You identify your swadharma. You're in your heart, on the inside, you know what is right. You know what is your dharma when you are going against it. The dharma towards yourself. The swadharma cannot be forgotten. Krishna says here, and this is the truth for a soldier also. They have what they call Naam, Namak, Nishan. Whatever happens, we will never forget these three. My name, from where I come from, that is one. Namak, the salt that I am taking. The Nishan is the insignia of the unit that they serve, and they hold on to it. And they will hold on to it up to their last moment also. Because they know that there's nothing more dangerous than leaving it behind. Krishna says, working for oneself, even though faultily, is much better than to serve perfectly under someone else's fetter. Even if death comes while performing one's natural duty, it is better, as serving others is perilous vulnerability. One side is talking about serving the world, Loka Sangraha, but in another place he's saying, follow your Swadharma, serve your Swadharma, because if you let go of your Swadharma and become chained to somebody else and you are serving another person, it is a great vulnerability in your life. He says, even death while performing your duty is better. He says, even faultily. It's somebody who is talking yoga karmasu kaushalam. Excellence in works is yoga. He's talking about trying to reach perfection in work. Here he's saying faults are also okay as long as you are trying to do it in your swadharma. It's like working for a very large organization. Some people do that. But what happens in that is Swadharma is lost. A friend of mine was working for a particular organization which was in the distribution of alcohol. He said, I don't drink, but this is my job. Can I continue this? And if it is connecting with your Swadharma, you are feeling all right, it is fine. But otherwise, no, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I said, but you are going to serve consequences of your actions anyway. Your work is not, you may not directly be promoting something, but you are ultimately going to be like what Karna did, no, in the Mahabharata. What was Karna's fault? He did his duty, but he did not do his Swadharma, which is connected with the inner truth. Somewhere he knew Duryodhana was wrong in trying to, use deceit. He knew Duryodhana was wrong to want to murder the Pandavas unfairly, all of that. But he did not. He crushed his Swadharma that time. And we see the consequences also. So here, Krishna says, even, this is a beautiful part, working for oneself, even faultily, is much better than to serve perfectly under someone else's fetter. This is a choice many people get in their lives, which they have to take. And that time they avoid it looking at outer preferences, their own likes and dislikes. They forget the Swadharma. Krishna says, remember the Swadharma. A participant shared experience of another friend who was very close. It was during the COVID time. That was the COVID batches during that period. There was this girl, she was a young girl living in the US from a, what we can say, not so wealthy family in India. And she was a very dutiful daughter. She was sending money every month. But the manager who was in charge was taking wrong advantage of her. And that was something which was troubling her because it's a swadharma aspect, isn't it? You cannot allow anybody to take you for granted. But she was trapped thinking of her bandhana. No, no, I have to send something home. I have to send this money home. So I will have to continue. She tried telling it to her parents. Unfortunately, the parents were not following their dharma also. They did not want anything more than the money that was coming from her. So they did not care. And she was letting it go on. She was letting it go on for almost so many months. And when her friends saw her, she saw that her eyes had all, there were these sacs under her eyes and she was all disturbed. And the very simple fact was where she was, what she was doing. But it was a big organization that she was working, and somehow she felt she has to bear it and she was continuing it. Then the friend had a discussion, and then somehow they said, no, this is not, you have your life. If you go on this way, this will not, this is against your own personal swadharma. She didn't use this word, of course. She talked to her in a language she understood. And then that person took the decision, ki enough. She wrote a letter. That letter didn't have any effect. And then she herself resigned. But because it was COVID time, she didn't get a job, another job. She had to come back to India. When she came back to India, her parents did not accept her. Now, it's a big sorrow, isn't it? What have I done? Have I done wrong? No. She was actually feeling elated and blessed that she's out of that trouble. Though she was in a big organization, she said, I am free. She started living in as a paying guest in a shared facility, and then she started working her way up again as a call from a call center, much more lesser than the work that she was doing according to her standards. Otherwise, there's no lesser or higher work. But she was free and she was happy, and she really said, I understood a lot of things that I was doing. It was unnecessary. It was going against my will out of certain unnecessary constructs which I had kept on my head. So this is one important aspect to recognize the Swadharma. We must, Krishna says, it is better. It may not be so grand, it may not be so huge, it might be little. But in Bhagwad Gita and Karma Yoga, we have heard, isn't it? Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Little action done in proper manner can save from greatest danger. Outer grandeur is nothing, but it is to be understood the quality of the work. Can you say you are very great because you helped 5,000 people? Or you are great because you helped 5 people? Or you are great because even one person? Is there any difference in scale of gradations? You're doing your work, you're doing it sincerely, you're doing it perfect. The outer aspect does not. We do not know. One person might become the mother of a Dr. Abdul Kalam. How many children did she coach? How many children should she teach and transform? But our one Dr. Abdul Kalam was enough, isn't it? She created that one Dr. Abdul Kalam by raising him, giving him the right perspective in his childhood, teaching him that universal principles. And look at that, what a ripple effect it had. So this is important to identify Swadharma and focus it. And Krishna says, go inside, understand. You're on the inside, you know. When you connect, there is a divine spirit inside of you. That's what Krishna is saying. Normally, what Krishna is saying to us sounds very good, but we have to see Arjuna and go into Arjuna's shoes. Arjuna is still focusing on his immediate outcome, the battle. And he says, what he's talking about inner goodness, inner goodness. There is Duryodhana. Where is inner goodness inside of Duryodhana? Immediately he has a question when Krishna says, follow your inner dharma, follow your swadharma. Arjuna asks, he says, Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. Krishna has talked about the divine spirit inside of an individual, the inner goodness, all that Krishna's statements, he's just puncturing with this simple question. He says, so, what is it that provokes man to sin and act against his will, thus against his own kin? Where from does this force arise to rebel? O descendant of Rishni, please tell. Why is it then that people sin? If there is divine inside, why are people doing wrong things? Why is that divine not stopping? As young Swami Vivekananda also had this question before he met his guru. Agar tum ho, to ye kyun hai? If you are there, then why is all of this there? Why are my brethren in Bengal suffering famines? Why are they going through all of this? My own personal family is suffering so much. Are you there? Are you watching? Yesterday we had a very nice discussion on darkness. Or does Krishna keep us in darkness? That was the question. Because one person felt, I prayed so much and still he is troubling and he is giving me this darkness. What is the reason? What is it? And then there was a beautiful conclusion as well that we'll go to that later. I'll share it if anybody is interested. But this question of Arjuna is very, very pertinent, which comes in everybody's hearts. Why? Why do people do it? If there is a divine inside, where does the force to sin come from? People have done a lot of wrong things also. So where are they? Where is it coming from? What's happening? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhenamiha Vairinam. Krishna says, it is desire and its furious sibling anger born from the quality rajas. They are related to one another, all ensnaring and all polluting. They cause life to go in vain. These are the two greatest enemies that have to be slain. These are the two greatest enemies that ought to be slain. This is desire and its furious sibling anger. They are both related to one another. They come together, desire and anger, and they are part of Prakriti. Krishna uses a word rajas. Rajas is a guna. Prakriti functions through gunas. There are three gunas Krishna has talked about, three gunas which are functioning in the world, out of which today he has just introduced one, which he has called it rajas. To the question of what is the sin, it is because of the rajas guna. Because of the rajas, we see desire and anger both coming together. Both always come, and Krishna says they are all ensnaring and all polluting. They ought to be slain because they make life go in vain. If you look at our worst moments, aren't they when we have had our desires taking us away or anger taking control? In anger, I said something I should not have said. To my dear friend, I am not in this, I don't have this nature, but I spoke it. Anybody? Anybody has felt that? Anger has
Many
spoiled.
times we do that, sir.
Yes, ji?
Many times we do that.
Many times we do that. And do you have control? How does it come in? Does anger say, excuse me, I am going to come right now, or it just comes suddenly in a moment?
Come suddenly after some seconds, maybe we
Yeah,
realize that we should not have done that.
we should not have done that, isn't it? It just as a flow, it comes in suddenly from nowhere and we react and then we regret what we have done. It is something like that, and that is the entire reason Krishna is talking about. He says further, it spoils life. The great lives also go in vain. Dhumena vriyate vadhir यथा दर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेन वृतो गर्भः तथा तेन तमावृतम्. Just as fire is masked by smoke and dust, or like the embryo is sheathed within the amniotic crust, in this manner in this manner similar and precise knowledge is hidden by an outer disguise. In this manner similar and precise knowledge is hidden by an outer disguise. Just like how fire is masked by what? Smoke and dust. Where does the smoke come out from? Anybody? The smoke originates from
Fire.
the fire only, isn't it? From the same brilliant fire which is bright, which is light, that is only hidden by its own smoke and dust. Sometimes when there are big flame, firefighters struggle to identify the nature of the fire because so much smoke is there, they're not able to understand how great that fire is. The brilliant fire is being hidden by its own smoke and dust, just in a very similar manner. Or Krishna gives the example of the garbha. The baby is concealed inside, isn't it? The embryo is inside of the amniotic crust. From the outside, it's not visible. Just like that, knowledge also gets hidden by an outer disguise. This is the disguise of anger. This is the disguise of karma. krodha, both out of rajas. So no matter how brilliant an individual may be, the brilliance of that individual can be suddenly covered by these two, and that is causing people to sin. Means the greatest of great people in those some moments they become vulnerable when they allow this to control them, and all their punya is lost, isn't it? Sometimes in one moment, all the good that a person has done can be lost, and that is the problem. That is the force of rajas, is what Krishna is talking about. And this is a permanent enemy. Krishna says, Avruttam. Yes, we will look at two more shlokas and then we'll stop. Avruttam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. Knowledge is covered by this perennial enemy, even in the cases of the knowledgeable many. O Arjuna, such is desire's lustful form, which rages like a quenchless firestorm. If you look at the form of desire, it is like that storm which is not going to stop. It is like an inferno. No matter what you feed, it's not going to get satisfied. It will keep burning. That is desire, and knowledge is covered by this enemy. It's a perennial enemy, meaning always. Nitya Vaira. It's something we never want in life. Imagine an enemy who is always there. What do we do then when we have a permanent enemy? Bharat is also having that in its Rashtra or map only is there was a division and a portion of Bharat was lost, and now that other portion is like a permanent enemy only, isn't it? So how are we dealing with it? Anybody? How do we deal with a permanent enemy?
You have to deal with it very strictly.
We have to be dealing with it strictly, or we have to be ready, isn't it, for any time attack. Patrollings keep happening all the time around our borders because any time an infiltration can take place. So we are on alert, isn't it, all the time?
Yes.
And do we
Yeah,
reason? Yes, Dr. Swarupaji. Yes, please.
yeah, we have different approaches to deal with the enemies also, like
Yes,
a
we have different.
strategic approach, yeah, or an actual fight, or
Yes. But
yeah.
can we negotiate with the enemy, which is known to attack all the time?
No. After knowing
Yeah.
the I can't use the word, but you know the nature of that enemy, and now you
Yes.
know that there is no point in negotiating.
There's no sincerity is there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be reciprocal. You cannot experience the hope that in desire, I will have a sincerely good desire, or my anger will suddenly become like Durvasa's anger because I am XYZ yogi. No, we are not yet reached that state. And our anger is not in our control. It is the other way around. Anger is controlling us. So we cannot have any of these dealings until that happens. We have to understand that yes, these are our enemies and we have to be alert because ahankar comes so easily. I have learned this much, but that is enough for me to give me ahankar. I know this, I am so great. Because I know this, I can say you don't know that. This happens very easily. And then it's the same thing, desire and anger. These have to be kept at bay, is what Krishna says. We'll look at the last part and then we'll stop at the shlokas number 40. Indriyani mano buddhir अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्. It is said, if the senses occupy the governing seat, the mind and intellect, desires can cheat. Knowledge is bewildered by the sensual stimulants, and hoodwinked become the two instruments. So Krishna says, if the Indriyas are your drivers, if your senses and the desires are your drivers, the mind and the intellect, mana and buddhi, they can be cheated by your desires. Even knowledge is bewildered by these sensual stimulants and hoodwinked become the two instruments. Do we agree that we have instruments, mind, mana and buddhi? They are our instruments of life. Anybody agrees? If yes, why? Why do you feel that? Or they are our life only? Or they are a part of life, or they are our life? That is the question. Yes, Jirenuji was saying something.
Yes, mind and intellect are instruments.
They have to be used by us, isn't it?
Yes,
We don't use our mind and just if we are at the whim of the senses, what's going to happen?
it's like just like a knife. If you don't use it, it becomes blunt. The more you
Okay,
use,
it becomes blunt. Yes.
the more you use, it is sharpened. You are more aware. You rise in consciousness.
Okay. All right, Renuji. Yes, Karthik ji is saying something or sharing something. Yes, sir.
Sushruti, Hari Om. I wanted to understand, has this also been, is there a reference to this shloka in the Vishnu Sahasranamam as well? This particular specific
Verse of actually it can
verse?
be it is it's possible because in many of the Vedantic next shloka we will see will have a lot of Upanishadic connection and it is just a continuation of that. The experience which particular shloka are you referring to in the Vishnu Sahasranama?
Uh, there's Indriyani Manobuddhir Tattam Tejo. I'm not able
Yes.
to
Okay, got it.
connect it
I think
correctly,
that
but
yes. Absolutely. It is because our Indriyas, the mana, the buddhi, they are the three what we have with us to experience life. And if you see the what we have to experience is ultimately the divine consciousness. So we have to recognize how to use these for raising our consciousness towards the divine. The next shloka actually will talk about what happens when you are able to control, when these instruments are, you are instruments and you are not being a puppet of your desires. What happens then that we will look at tomorrow. So I will actually go through the entire shloka and I'll be able to tell you tomorrow also. But definitely, because the same truth is manifested in different ways in our shastras. That is why Gita is called a Pramana Shastra. You will find it in the Upanishads. You will find it in the Rig Veda also. You will find it even in the Puranas. In the Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is itself a brilliant standalone text also. So yes, definitely. And so in the Vishnu Sahasranama, where is it? We will look at it. Yes, ji. All right.
thank you.
So thank you, ji. Thank you. So this is the thing. So just best example if you can think of is say you have been invited to a very prestigious conference. You are prepared perfectly. You have got a wonderful presentation. You have got the perfect graphical representations. But this is in a different kshetra, which is not your usual kshetra. So you have taken enough care to be not too far away from the venue also. You have booked your stay in a hotel which is quite close to that conference as well. Just say 4 kilometers away. You're well ready in advance. You have sent your file as a backup in pen drive. You're carrying, I mean, in a mail also, you're carrying a pen drive. Everything is perfect. Only one problem is there. You have a very funny and weird driver. You tell him go north, he goes south. He goes in his own direction. Now, what is going to happen to all the knowledge that you possess? You have to reach at 8:30 for the slot, where the time that has been given to you. You have to give the presentation at 8:30. You have decided, chalo, 5 kilometers, even if it takes time, I'll start going at 7:30 only, 1 hour early. Let me reach. But this driver is going on and on in the wrong direction. And you miss the 8:30 slot. The next speaker starts speaking they wait till 8:50 and they give the chance to the next speaker and your chance is gone and they are too strict to allow you to again. What can you say? Can you say, oh no, I was so intelligent, but my driver was bad? Does it make a difference? You could have just got out of the vehicle and walked and reached the venue on time. But no, you allowed that driver to take you in the wrong direction. Who is it? Who is to blame? Is it the organizer? Is it nature? Should we blame Krishna? Or should we blame ourselves here? Anybody? Who is to blame for this?
Should blame ourselves.
We must blame ourselves only. For we have allowed this driver to take us away. And this is exactly what our Indriyas do. Mana and Buddhi. Both of them are driven by the Indriyas. Buddhi Bheda, no, why Krishna says it's because that is the divide. And that comes from the Indriyas, attachment to different aspects, attachment to preferences, attachment to likes, attachment to dislikes, different ways the Bheda is created. So we must learn, first train our mind to rise above the Bheda. That is number one. Otherwise, people don't know what is Dharma and what is Adharma. Sattvam, Tejo, Balam, Dhriti. So all of these are great qualities also. We'll look at the preceding and after verses also, sir. I'll be able to tell you after that. So, yes, it's actually Teja, Dhriti, Bala, all of these are all, useful instruments for our sadhana. If we recognize it, we can use it. But if we do not, the mind goes in the wrong direction. Buddhi also goes into wrong direction many times. So the knowledge is lost, the wisdom of the individual is lost. The next loka we will see how to use these instruments. If you use this, there are levels of consciousness that can be experienced. But the first thing is, let's not have a for useless driver. Instead, let us be a good driver ourselves. It's all right. We can go. We may be slow on our own, but it's all right. It's all right. At least we are following our swadharma and going on the right path. Because ultimately, you cannot blame anybody else if you allow your mind and buddhi to go for a ride just because of your attachment to the indriyas. So with this, we stop today. I request anyone if you can share a short summary of it, and then we'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra, what we saw today. After Shanti Mantra, if any queries are there, they are welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hi Krishna Shruti ji. Yes, namaste.
Can I try and do this?
Yeah, most welcome. Yes. We've not heard in a long time. Looking forward. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You started with teaching us that unless someone wants to learn, he can't be taught. And through examples, one can evaluate the actions of the others. And you gave the example of King Janaka, because who believed in Loka Sangraha. Motivation is definitely needed. Otherwise, we will go towards tamasic withdrawal. So Loka Sangraha is needed. And this is the inspiration to do selfless karma. And you told us about Buddhi Bhed. Buddhi Bhed is it's not required. And we should not break anybody's Shraddha. So what, according to according to us, we are full of ahankar, and through our indriyas, we feel whatever I see is everything. But even we have limitations, and if we understand with humility that whatever I see is not everything, but ignorant people feel they are everything, and attachment is definitely important. That is what the fools think, that attachment is really important, because they do not know the nature's qualities and foundations, the tattva indriya. They feel attachment is important, but we should never alter our own karmas. That's what you taught us today. Do not let our karmas alter other state of mind, because ignorance and truth, the choice will eventually have to be taken, and Prakriti also will take control. This is, and afterwards you told us, Krishna, this is the second time Krishna is telling us, he's hinting at his own divinity. He is telling Arjuna that there is a part of me in you, so meditate upon me, and without grief or remorse, consecrate to me. This is the second time Krishna is hinting at his own divinity. And he is telling us, he's telling Arjuna that focus on the divine. So pick up your weapons, and you are a warrior. You are a warrior, so pick up your weapons. And such people who do their own duties, the karma bandhana will be dissolved, because you're doing your own duty with complete shraddha. And you told us that shraddha cannot be enforced. It has to be realized, and we have to it has to be motivated. And then you spoke about shraddha sthana, which is one shraddha sthana, equally but respecting everybody else also. And one shraddha sthana is very important. And Krishna, he says, those who lack vivek buddhi, and regarding conviction, and don't regard this and don't follow this, They are fools and deluded and ignorant. Now, Krishna is not cursing in this. And he said they will not excel or they will not grow. There will be no growth of consciousness. Because if they have no Vivek Buddhi, they do not regard all this, then they are fools. But Krishna here is not cursing anybody, but he's just telling us about the cause and effects. The cause and effect that if we don't believe in this and don't do a swadharma, he's not cursing us. Krishna has never ever cursed anybody. Okay. Then you spoke about that Krishna is saying that there is a part of, okay, 1 second, yeah. Yeah.
Swadharma, isn't it?
Yes, Gita talks about desires. Gita talks about desires, but getting carried away is not needed. And then you spoke about Prakriti and Gunas, that they have their own stamp of Swabhava. So we should use our own nature to do sadhana, and we do not need to suppress it, but overcome it. But how do we overcome it? Because likes and dislikes, they are there in everybody and they come through desires, and this cannot be prevented. You use the word ugam, from the ugam, but we don't get carried away with these emotions and do not give them importance and keep doing our swadharma, because karma is duty is very, very important, and one must do what is supposed to be done. You gave the example of army jawans. So identify your own swadharma karo, even though it might not be desirable, but you have to keep doing your swadharma and dwell upon your inner nature, which has to be identified, recognized, and do loka sangraha through swadharma. Even death is okay as long as you're doing your own swadharma to connect with your inner divine. Now, Arjuna has a question right away. So Arjuna says, so what is it that man is provoked by to doing sin? His inner nature, Krishna, you saying about your swadharma, but yet people, they act against the divine and many times they're doing sins. So you speak about swadharma, yet people do sin. So Krishna even, and you spoke about Vivekananda, you gave an example about Vivekananda. Why still this darkness? So Krishna says it is the desire and the furious anger. And you spoke about Rajas, which has been introduced right now, about the Rajas, that which has to be slain. Otherwise, because of this desire and the furious anger, life goes in vain. And they are the biggest perennial enemies, and they're related to each other. And this, the guna of Rajas here, as you said, has been introduced here first time, which is the permanent enemy. And this knowledge is hidden by an outer crust, just like our garbha and fire, which are masked by dust and smoke. So knowledge also is covered by this perennial nitya enemy, outer crust of kama and krodha. It is an inferno firestorm which causes people to sin, and all our punya is lost. So this mana and buddhi, they have their instruments and they have to be controlled. We have to be alert. We have to understand. Otherwise, our man, buddhi, knowledge will get hoodwinked and we will start doing stupid things. So it should be controlled. It should be, we should be alert and understand. And you will be explaining tomorrow that these are the instruments, but how do we use these instruments? And let us be our own drivers to go on the right path. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shrutiji, beautifully said. Adi Shankaracharya's words. Govindam, bhaja Govindam, bhaja Govindam, Govindam, bhaja Mudamate. So do not let your desires go away. And he says you have to train your mind to be kendrit towards the divine. And he gives the example of Govinda, bhaja. So anyway, let us see tomorrow. What is it? Is there something? Mind and its senses are already a very interesting experience of life. Mind is itself quite miraculous. How fast it is, it travels, how like without visa it can go across the world. and so many thoughts, and sometimes people have multiple minds also. So let us see. We'll see tomorrow. Today we will conclude with a Shanti mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishna Mandir Jagadguru. Hari Om. I think I missed out on the time deadline today. I'll try to maintain it tomorrow. Yes, Hari Om. Sorry for the delay. Yes, please.
Krishna,
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
But you
Hari
were
Om.
sharing something regarding yesterday's discussion. You stopped in between about darkness.
Maybe I think we've recorded it. So its recording is available on Facebook at the moment. I'll try to download it and send a YouTube link also by the end
Yes,
of the
please.
day. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om ji. Namaskar. Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om.